I don't like my world.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Um, I
So
was saying you look good. You look like you just got off your bike or something.
no, I ate lunch.
So you wear like denim coveralls to eat lunch?
It's just a shirt.
Oh, okay. It's like very messy lunch. I don't know.
It was mushroom risotto.
That could be really messy.
It was a little messy. Yes.
I'm still eating my smoothie.
Uh,
I'll make sure everybody gets a great look at how delicious my kale cube smoothie is. Mmm, healthy.
all right.
All right. Well, how are you?
Uh, I didn't read a lot of the national articles. I read the headlines, so I kind of knew what was going on. My take is that our president just wants to start a war so he can go down as a wartime president and have some fucking prestige or honor that comes with that shit, which there is none. We all know this. So I've just been lightly keeping track of that
Yeah.
locally. It's just there's a work session coming up of what to do with the Portland Housing Bureau funds. So been chatting with people about that and just thinking things through with different folks and whatever. But one of the things that I would like to complain about, and then of course you'll have your stuff that you want to, or we
Oh,
can come
thank you.
together,
Yeah.
is
That.
yeah, is identity privilege in organizing circles.
Mm, that's
So even if you're not a racist, and even if you're working on whatever prejudices you were brought up with, or things that you didn't even realize you had, unconscious biases, there are moments where it's very clear that the person who's marginalized or minoritized is being treated differently than the rest of the white people in that room. And it really sucks when you're that person who has to try and bring it up, and everyone's like, no, no, we don't have that. And it's like, oh, but you fucking do. So anyway, that's mine.
okay. Well, that was brief. I don't really have anything. No. Here's what I have heard over the last several months of people far smarter than me talking about what the thing that calls itself president, that generally the last person that spoke to them, that gave them any kind of honor or respect, gets what they want.
Mm,
So, when, Zelensky was in Washington, DC, and they had the time after he was berated for not wearing a nice suit by
mhm,
the fucking idiots in the room, but he met with it, and next thing you know, there's a statement about Russia needs to come to the table and make da 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 and everything else. And you're like, what? What the fuck's happening? Right. So, what I heard was that the nuclear deal that he scrapped in his first term
mhm,
were going very well, actually, and the negotiators were gaining more ground. Netanyahu came to Washington, said, "Here's what we want." And then Kushner got billions from the Qataris and what they want, and all of a sudden missiles are flying. I don't think he cares what I know he cares what his reputation is, right?
yeah.
But I think he wants to be seen as the person who took out Khomeini as opposed to being the wartime president. He really wants that Nobel Peace Prize. But um, as a good friend of mine, Andrew, had posted, which is still my favorite post of the week, it kind of feels like that FIFA Peace Prize was just
Mhm.
for show. So I don't think bombing the leader of even one of the worst regimes on the planet is an okay thing to do. And apparently they were targeting officials, including the girls' school, because they thought
Yes.
an official was there, and over 180 young girls were decimated or blown apart, and that
Yes.
number keeps rising. And none of it's fucking okay. None of it. Let's just get that out of the way. This isn't how you do things. I mean, it's how the United States does things. between Kissinger and Laos and Allende and decades of horrific outcomes. When someone plants a dirty bomb in Washington D.C., they're going to call it terrorism. But when we go and do cruise missile strikes across all of Iran and just blow up whoever we want because they're in proximity to a person in a political position, it's called freedom making. And I can't look at it with that lens. Even though most of the Iranian pundits that I appreciate are like, yeah, it's great he's gone. What's going to happen in the vacuum? Right? It's like, come on. Anyway,
I I think one of the things that we know, but we don't talk about because we just need a bad guy, and, like, we've touched on this many different ways, is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he's gone. It doesn't matter that bin Laden was gone. It doesn't actually matter that Trump's president,
yeah,
because it's the system,
yes, exactly.
and until you actually somehow abolish the system, obliterate, or systemically, radically change any of the systems we have, it doesn't fucking matter whose talking head is there.
Exactly, exactly. Trump is a symptom, not the impetus.
Mhm.
That's all. It's just the enablement. They found a useless or an idiot useful idiot stooge, also useless, to do all the dirty work because he's too stupid to not say that shit out loud, but it gets him votes. So there's no surprises here. When he's
Mm-mm.
gone, everybody's like, "Oh, I can't wait till he's gone." I'm like, "And you think that's gonna make a difference?"
It's not.
It's
It's
not.
not at all. No, because somebody else will jump in his place or the pendulum will swing back and it's like, "Oh, yay, we have another moderate Democrat like a Biden, and we have 4 years where" I don't know, what do
We'll
people
just look
do?
forward.
Right,
Let's not look back and hold anybody accountable.
right. And it's like, yeah, it was nice to not have this bullshit for 4 years, but it didn't mean that the work should have ever stopped.
Mm,
And we do have a
no,
tendency to sit back and relax. I mean, I definitely saw it when Obama was president. Everyone's like, "Oh, yay, we have a black president. Racism's over." And it's like, that's not how that works. In fact, it got worse. It got louder. It got more visible. But yeah, no,
no,
and it's bleak. But honestly, this reminds me of when I was a kid in the '90s, and it's like, oh, we're just blowing up the Middle East. Cool. And here we are again, 30 years later. And it's like, oh, cool, we're blowing up the Middle East.
no,
Another 30 years, we'll be blowing it up again. I mean, it's like, what are we doing? We also, I think, apparently bombed the Congo or something happened in the Congo too, and it's like, "Oh, we're just blowing up the world."
which is a great segue, honestly, into change versus not change. We have a new form of government in Portland. It's a little over a year old, and it's seen plenty of painful moments and figuring out how it all works in the moment, and
Mhm.
yet it's been far more functional than our previous form of city
Yes.
government. But what has not changed is the leadership, for the most part. The God, I forget the term, the downtown coalition or whatever it's
Portland
being called.
Metro Chamber?
No, 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 the COTEC thing
Oh,
that
the task force. Yeah.
the downtown task force, that's it. The only hold on, I'm gonna bring it up, make sure I'm not talking out of the wrong side of my butt. Is there a right side of your butt?
There's no n don't
There's
talk
the
about
right side
don't
and the
I
left
don't
side.
we're cutting this part out, but anyway.
That's totally fair. Oh, yeah, yeah. So Central City Concern has a seat at the table, and Albina Ministries has a seat at the table.
Oh, yeah, the Albina
And
Vision Trust.
Vision Trust, that's it. Everything else is business, including a architect that, if memory serves, built a new 650,000 square foot DHS office in Washington, DC, who's one of the main people with a seat at the table. But Welcome Home Coalition does not have a seat at the table, and none of
Mm.
the 50, 60 organizations underneath it have a seat at the table. It's all business. And it once again is the business interests are why downtown is suffering. It's not because of the fentanyl problem. It's because they have never ever focused on making it livable, inclusive, and diverse, right? So if you're all about business and something happens to the economy, there's no more fucking business.
Mhm.
It's not rocket surgery. Yet the people who have ideas on how to revitalize downtown and reshape it into something that is thoughtful and resilient, not there.
Mhm. Yeah,
No,
that
no
sounds about
real voice.
right. That sounds
So,
normal. You
so
know
this,
who is there though?
mm,
TMT Development, Vanessa Sturgeon.
yeah. So, well, at least it's Machiavellian enough to say, how do I get some more income
Or make a tax shelter.
or make a tax shelter? Yeah, I'm helping people by not going broke. Um, I don't know enough about the organization. I know that you're dialed into all of that, but the fight between the city and Multnomah County once again over shelter beds. Multnomah County is like, we again don't have enough money out of nowhere, and we're going to shut a bunch of things down. And then the city is like, well, we too, out of nowhere, also don't have money.
But
This
here's
is your
another pot of money we found.
but here's another pot of money we found that should have gone to housing. Every 3 months, there's a brand new crisis, and the people reporting on it apparently, I don't know if, like, they get an article out, it's well written, then they go home and hit themselves in the head with a hammer, and then, 3 weeks later, the same thing happens, and it's like, "Oh, there's another deficit," and like, "Yeah, you just reported on one 3 months ago that was resolved 2 weeks later." I don't understand any of it. It's like Portland is 150 years old, 160 years old, I forget when
Is
our
that it?
yeah, something like that, right?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, 1870. We just had a 150th anniversary a few years ago. I'm not good with math.
Oh
But yeah,
my
no,
god.
we've only been around that long. We're a young city, but in 150 years, we haven't figured out how to do a fucking budget. I don't
Well
understand that. I don't
yes, there is that, isn't it?
it's like you have very high paid people who have Microsoft Office. Those are the 2 things you need. A couple degrees, understand how math works, and good Excel skills. You can do a budget.
The Excel skills are hard to come by.
You're paid a lot of money, you should have them, otherwise go away.
I know.
Um,
I'm just saying,
but
I
you
mean,
do. Yeah, I mean,
when I was hiring for, like, development fundraising people, sometimes asking them a simple question like, "Find the average on the rows of these donations for this year." It was an interview test, you know?
yeah.
So, like, 67 rows. Column A was the names, column B was the money. We just simplified it like that. Question was, "What's the average donation?" All
That
the
I
people we
can
interviewed
do.
failed. They failed. They didn't know
It's
how to do the average.
you just
All every
click the average button.
They didn't
Highlight
know.
the column and click the average button.
I didn't I was down if they just added it all up and then divided by 67. I don't care. Like, do it
Oh,
manually for
wait,
all
you
I
could
care.
do that too?
You can. You could do equal, sum, but the thing is,
No, I get that.
all the people we interviewed
Even I know that,
and we
and
let them
I'm
look
an
it up
idiot.
too. They were allowed to sit there and actually Google it and look it up, and some of them were trying to, and they didn't know, but it was like, "Oh, you forgot this very simple skill we learned in, like, 6th grade."
I mean, I can do that where I lose
It's not like I
things.
asked them to use an abacus.
Yeah, or make a pivot table that makes sense, right?
I actually like pivot tables.
I love pivot tables, but I struggle with the data that needs to be in the right place to make it usable. Plus, I use verbose names for columns, so when you pivot it, it's all and they're like, "Kip, you can't name things like that." I'm like, "But you need to know what the column or the row is." Alright, anyway. No, it again, not rocket surgery. You can't be surprised by your lack of budget every single quarter because the people need to be fired if that's what's going on, and it blew my mind when our old comptroller, City
Michael
uh,
Jordan?
Jordan, is like, "Yeah, I don't know where all that money went." I'm like, "How long have you been here, Mr. Jordan?" "Well, okay, how long have you been dialing in from Las Vegas, Mr. Jordan?" Wait, it was Jordan who was in Vegas?
I don't
Or
know. I
I
don't
can't I
remember
can't
now.
keep
One
track
of
of
them.
Yeah,
But
one of them was in Vegas most of the time,
but
but
you can tell a lot of them just rubber stamp documents, and year after year, agency after agency, and now it's just how it goes. So now when we finally have 12 counselors who are like, "Can you explain what this is for?" And you saw that. The departments, and there are good people who work at the
oh,
city,
yeah,
but they could not explain it because they've never had to and they never had to think about it. They're like, "Oh, we're just asking for this money."
yeah. No, 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 no. It used to be kinda like a knife fight, a virtual is not right, a legislative knife fight,
Mhm.
that's a metaphor, why not? Where the executive overseeing the bureau at that moment, because bureaus were used as rewards and punishment by the mayor in the old system, they would have to advocate for their bureau's budget and their own budget and legislate and tie it all together because that's the only way that they got loyalty out of their people in the bureau, right?
Right.
So now we have a city manager and assistant managers, and that's great. Although now there's another 2 or 3 layers of management between the top and the workers again, and that obfuscates everything as well and adds tens of millions of dollars to the cost of managing the city. So, buried in all of that, we're going to see information not flowing freely, as we saw with the housing stuff. And we're going to see bad decisions still made because there's no direct chain of accountability. It filters through a bunch of different people, and it'll be really easy to blame one person or another.
Oh, yeah.
And again, none of this is people have done this for decades, have said, hey, here's what our goals are. Here's what our costs are. Here's how much money we have coming in. What can we do reasonably? And you shouldn't be every 4 or 5 months coming back around saying, well, we fucked that up yet again. How? How? How?
I don't know, but imagine if, like, you did that with your own home expenses.
I do, and guess what? I'm always scrambling to pay my fucking bills, right? But the only person in danger if I really fuck up is me and my cat. And I don't fuck up because of my cat, right?
Right.
If it's just me, sure. But imagine if you had, oh, I don't know, 930,000 people dependent on you not fucking up.
Yep.
And how many of those people are living in the streets or unhoused? So if you fuck up your budget and I don't know, 3, 4% of your household budget is living in the streets, you're really fucking up.
But we'll just sweep them and make them go to shelters and maybe send 2
And give
cops,
them
6
a
cops,
a
8
beef
cops. We
jerky.
don't know how many cops to
We'll
go
give
take
them a
care of
beef
it.
jerky and kick them out at
And
6 in the morning.
yes, and I also found out this week that 2 of the shelters in our city have bed bugs, and staff at one said, "Take a shower," and staff at the other one said, "We don't have bed bugs." But the people staying there are telling me there are bed bugs.
So a friend of mine um found out talking earlier this week, that she was homeless for over a year in Portland and had to stay at one of the shelters, I think it was a Salvation Army shelter. She was grateful she had a place to put her head down,
Mhm,
but she lost her job because she's constantly sick and late
mhm,
because living with 50, 60 other people who are up all night, having their own challenges, everybody's always getting each other sick,
mhm.
buses not running on time, getting kicked out at 6 o'clock in the morning with 3 hours sleep. You fall asleep sitting at a bus stop, you don't make it on time, and none of that's a consideration, right? And she's in a much better place now, right? Which I'm so grateful for. But that story's told over again several thousand times,
Mhm.
right? And it's not an okay system, period, by any stretch of any imagination. Yet this is what they're focused on again, and still can't do the budget for it. All right, I think I don't. There's no more to say on that. I'm just getting really aggravated right now. So um it drives me nuts. It just this isn't that hard. You wanna solve the problems downtown Portland has, Bring in community, don't bring in business. Business caused these problems,
It
period.
shouldn't be that hard, but it gets hard because everyone wants a piece of the pie. Everyone wants there's a number of people who do this and they have really good intentions, but their impact doesn't match. Some are just in it for the contract. Some are in it to maintain status quo. And then some are in it to actually change the system.
Yeah,
And even the ones that are in it to change the system, you gotta watch out for personalities. And when the personalities go above the principles,
yeah,
nothing's happening. And, that was my gripe for this week. It was like I was in a meeting and some people just don't wait their turn to talk and they just keep interrupting and interrupting and interrupting and nobody does a vibe check and nobody says, "Hey, you've already spoken 3 times, shut up for a minute." Nothing,
right.
right? And then somebody else speaks and at the example I'm gonna bring up is it was me and I was bringing up something and 2 white women cut me off. And one of them just started screaming. She was on Zoom in her car, started screaming, "We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that." And I was like, "Can I finish talking?" And apparently the answer was I couldn't. The other person was cutting me off because we were about to run over time. That's fine. Then the meeting went on for another 12 minutes overtime to let other people talk, one of them being the white lady who was screaming in her car.
I'm
And I was like,
sorry.
this is identity privilege. What the fuck you doing?"
Yeah. No, I'm
It's like, if
sorry
you
about
want me to
that.
be more concise, I can. I can throw it in the Zoom chat or I can just not come. How about I just don't fucking come to the meetings anymore? And I was pissed.
That's kinda what I think a lot of that, checking, privilege checking does is to make it untenable and people just
Mhm.
give up, right? Once again, not rocket surgery. There's Robert's rules, which is a lot,
I
especially
know.
for volunteer or semi-volunteer committees. But there's also progressive stack. People who talk all the time, take a fucking back seat. Shut the fuck up. Let somebody else talk who doesn't get the chance to talk, right? If there's a time limit, all of this should be up front. Community agreement, respect each other, make space for other people, listen, progressive stack, time check.
Mhm.
If there's conflict, identify the conflict, table it, and have a follow-on process. None of this is hard to do, right? But
Yep.
it holds too many people accountable. So, or the community agreements are there, but no one actually enforces them.
I think that's what it is that the agreements are there. It starts out nice where people raise their hand or, there's a moment of pause and you come off mic and it seems appropriate to jump in. And then it just becomes like, "Oh, I've unmuted myself. I'm just gonna," and it's like, "No, no, no, no. This is not your shit."
That's not
And
how it can't work that way. Yeah.
exactly. And the facilitation is Portland polite.
Yeah, and I run into that all the time
Oh, I know
also.
you do. I know.
But it's the structure that I have to deal with is a little bit different. Um, so I don't I'm not gonna go into all of that, but when you're talking about difficult things, expect difficult conversations. Being nice helps no one. Trying to be kind does help, but you still have to call shit out, and sometimes that's also being kind, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, if we're gonna solve this problem, I'm going to ask hard questions or I'm gonna say challenging things, and I'm doing so not out of malice, but out of the fact that we're not solving these problems and we're having the same conversations over and over again. So the kindness here, let's not waste everyone's time. Hear me out. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Argue back,
Mhm.
right? But don't just say, "Oh, you're not being nice to me, so we're shutting this down," or "You don't get to go in that direction because I don't agree with your assessment of things." That's not how you have a complicated conversation. And if you want a nice conversation, don't try to solve real problems.
Well, and also, if you come to these meetings and it's gonna be heavy and it's gonna, there's gonna be things that activate you, depending what it is.
Take a Xanax first. Okay, wait, sorry.
Hey kids, do some drugs. Next time you're feeling stressed.
Better living through pharmaceuticals. Anyway, so
Progress Portland is sponsored by Xanax. No, yeah, but you know what?
I
One of the things
I'm
is
gonna get
that
sued, let's cut
is
that
that
out.
a lot of people who do this work, we've all been through shit, right? So we all come with our own insecurities, and we all come sometimes with a need to be heard. That can be very understandable, which I think is why we give each other grace, and some days we don't. But it's like, if you come there with your insecurity, and then the only way you can feel secure is to make somebody else feel like shit and shut them down, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me a lot in the last bunch of years that I've been doing stuff, and I've definitely left groups, and I've left jobs, and I've left, people. And at this point in time, there is a part of me, it's like, why am I still doing this? And no one has once course corrected them. Or if they have, it only lasts for a little bit of time. And part of it is I'm seeing that you do people are doing the gentle, like, hey, friend, can we talk? And I'm a kid from Brooklyn. So like your hey friend, can we talk to me is I'm gonna fucking punch your teeth out the next time you do this. Like I will drive to your house and I will just suck you in the face.
Metaphorically, 'cause we're on yeah, sure. I mean,
Nonviolent. Yeah, yeah, I'm a pacifist. I'm not.
what what did Stringer Bell say in The Wire? "Never take notes on committing a future felony?" Something like that. So,
Just saying,
no,
like,
no, I hear what you're saying.
I feel like I would be doing a service because to a certain degree, I know I'm not the only one. There were a few other people who were afraid to actually speak up in the meeting, and it was like, "This is fucked up."
People that's the other thing, people get intimidated by people who have power or undue agency over things,
Mhm,
and it's very difficult, and it's also hard to navigate to, like, have some challenges with people who are unhappy with the way things are going. You give them space, and this I won't go into any context whatsoever, because it's not public, but someone had a real challenge with the way one of the groups I was working with had done some things, and my question was, "What was it? What did you how were you offended? Why
mhm,
were you offended? Can I get some examples rather than just hearing, I was offended by this?"
right.
And some people felt like that's a reasonable question to ask, and other people
Yeah.
were like, "Why are you challenge them on their feelings?" I'm like, "I'm not challenging them on their feelings. I'm just saying, if you don't tell me what offended you, there's no way for us to know what it is and to try to address it, right?" And I tried doing it in the very most approachable way, and it was not taken well, and I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you guys. You
No,
can't
no.
just say, 'I'm really unhappy,' and then that's just justified because that's all you need to give into it. Like, if you wanna solve a problem, you have to have that hard conversation."
It's avoidance behavior. It'd be like if your car was stolen and I said, "Kip, what's the make, model, and color of your car?" And you're like, "You triggered me." And it's like, "Alright, you ain't getting your car back. Fuck off."
My car was stolen, like, "Oh, did what happened? Did you leave your keys in it?" Like, "Is that
Oh, no.
pertinent?" Well, yeah, because that's how anyway, I
I mean, I wouldn't even ask that. It's just it
or
has been as
no.
gentle as, "Hey, Kip, what's the make, model, and color of your car?" And then people get
Mm,
all, "I'm activated, I'm triggered." And it's like, "Alright, you know what? We don't have to ask those questions. You don't get your car back. Go fuck off. Have a
mm,
good time. Take it to
right.
Facebook. Go whine about it.
Yeah, I if you can't explain the situation,
I can't
then
help fix it."
exactly,
Right.
that's succinct.
Yep. We should talk about the second CBPA meeting
I was in a better mood, why would you want me to do that?
because it's
Um,
funny. I did I
everybody everybody has a good point, that there are no rules, so how can you start making rules if there's no rules?
Here's the thing, there
No
was
one's
a
in
rule.
charge.
There was one rule.
One
There was
rule.
one that woman would facilitate this meeting, and the agenda was agreed upon that they would have that
Yes.
agency come in and talk. Let's say there was one rule and then one thing definitely on the agenda. But that one person, the dude with the headphones and the little ears, just kept yelling, "There's no rules," and then he wanted to be chair. I want to be chair. That's not how that works.
That's that's a problem solver right there. There are no rules. We have no chairs. Make me the chair and I'll make some rules.
But it's like,
It's
will you?
initiative.
But will you?
Anyway.
We should wrap this up. And Friday, well, we had said it last week that we had talked to.
Nick Caleb, and we'll do a show note on this. Nick does talk about the Portland Police Association, which is a union that represents rank and file Portland Police Bureau members. um, had a ballot initiative that was rejected by a judge to redirect, I think, $50 million or more from the Portland Clean Energy Fund into policing. The ballot initiative, the wording was not clear enough or something, so it was rejected, but it sounds like it can be resubmitted. So we'll see if they actually do that. Think they have till June to put it forward, but then once they put it forward, it needs to have, memory serves, 40,000 signatures or something. And last time they had to rewrite something, they decided not to go forward with it. Clean energy funds should go to clean energy. Housing funds should go to housing. Again, not rocket surgery, kids. What have we learned today?
I don't like people.
Oh, okay. Virtual fist bump. Right on. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening to us, and thank you, Kat, for making this hopefully somewhat sensible. So,
Oh, it'll be worse. No. All
okay, cool. All
right.
right.
I will
Talk
talk
to you
to you
later.
later.
Be good.
Progress Portland is also on Facebook and Instagram, and we have event listings and updates on our website, progressportland.org. There's a content form on our website if you'd like to help out or have questions or comments. Our theme music is by the Portland band Helvetia.